Oh my goodness. Happy Wednesday. Hump
Is
day. Is it?
it-
Yeah. We are doing this thing for another. Oh, what episode are we on at this point? D, do you know?
Episode 155, as far as I'm concerned.
It's not true. That is
I
an
mean,
untruth. We are doing this thing. We are doing it for another day. I'm happy and excited, as always, to be here and joined by this lovely person. And I love how we're like coordinating today. And then, of course, we have our lovely guest host, our guest speaker today, Daphne. But for everyone, every beautiful body out there, my name is Blair G. Hervey. I'm the founder and CEO of The Corporate Strategist. My best friend did not feed me today, so that's why I'm stumbling over my words. But I am joined by my colorful co-host, my bestie, my soul friend of over 20 plus years, DeAngelo Crane. Say hi, D.
Hi, everyone. I'm just trying to figure out if I want to replace the co-host of the show or be replaced. Because apparently I didn't feed her today, but I did cook her a smorgasbord of food yesterday that she could have warmed up on her own. And there's lots of healthy food that I don't normally have in my refrigerator. Fresh vegetables that would go to waste if she doesn't eat them. But anyhow, no, I'm so excited to always be here with you, Blair, and to coordinate with you since you're here in my house all week. My goal is to coordinate with whatever you have on since you're right here
I
and I
love
can make it
it.
happen. Yeah, so
I
that's
love
the
it.
plan.
I love it.
You know,
The joys of being an entrepreneur. I can be wherever I want to be, work from wherever, and be right here with my besties and do all the things. And then, of course, a big, big welcome to our guest speaker today, Daphne. We are so excited to have you. Hello there.
It's a pleasure to connect with you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to those who we're connected with today, and thank you for the opportunity of your time and willingness to extend it on our behalf here. So yes, I'm
Absolutely.
excited.
Excellent. Let's do this. Well, welcome everyone to the Black DEIBA Collective Live. D, you want to take us into our Sunny segment? You like how I renamed it Sunny segment?
segment. I know that's so stupid, but it is truly what I call the art of the check-in. Every day here on the Black Diva Collective, we take a moment to really ask deeper questions of our co-hosts and our DEIBA superheroes, as I call them. And really, this is what we're asking leaders to do with their employees. It's just to dig a little deeper and do really what's called the art of the check-in, which is that deeper dive in the check-ins of what's going on with them in their day. And so I'm going to do it right now. First off, with Daphne here. Daphne, how's your heart? How's your soul? How's your mind today?
Yes, I love it very much. Um, it's always this whole aspect of, you know, head, heart, and that extends to hand. So thank you for asking. As I mentioned earlier, I'm feeling in betwixt and in between. True sense of my family and I yesterday broke our year of mourning. I lost my mom a year ago, and so feeling in betwixt and in between, and looking ahead, ensuring that the work that I do extends the legacy that she had instilled in me, being a force for good and to be able to be a servant leader. So that's what I'm feeling today, and I'm feeling just optimistic of what lies ahead.
Thank you for
And
being.
grateful for the two of you for connecting with me today. You truly are watering me today.
Oh,
Likewise, thank you for
isn't
being
she such a
vulnerable. I know
poet?
it. I mean,
No,
for
not at
being
all.
open. We're grateful that you're open with us and you feel safe with us to share that and our viewers. And when I think about today's topic, as we're talking about leading with influence and purpose, one of those things is to definitely vulnerability, right? And opening up your heart, your mind to share empathy with others and for others to have empathy for you and what you're going through. So we thank you for exhibiting that today on the show already by opening up that way. Blair, how's your mind, your heart, and your soul? How are you feeling today?
You know what? If I was any better, I'd be twins, honey. Listen, I restarted my aligners. So, I feel like the smile is smiling. I get to get on his nerves like all the time and in person, which is such a beautiful thing because I do have brothers. I have a brother in Dallas, Texas. I have a brother in Louisville, Kentucky, and I have extended brothers as well in different places. But this one right here, like this. So I'm just elated. I am grateful. Every day I wake up and I thank God for the breath in my lungs. I say my affirmations that money is flowing to me frequently and abundantly, and I'm able to help the people that I want to help. So I'm feeling great. How you feeling?
I'm great today. I love all of that. I just roll out of bed and get into working. I don't do all the affirmations,
I
all the
know.
joy, but I love that you
I've
do
seen
that.
you.
And you have seen me every morning. But I'm doing. I'm pleased as punch today. So Blair, tell us about our diva superhero today that we have on the show.
I love that. So Daphne, if you all are not familiar, Daphne Rocha is an award-winning transformation strategist, where she has spent the majority of her professional career in business consulting, partnering with C-levels in global 1,000 brands to build world-class business transformation practices that educates, engages, and converts people to serve a global economy. Additionally, she is a DEI leader who focuses her leadership style, and she emphasizes that leadership on equity and leveraging data and prioritizing diversity, equity, and inclusion for business impact. I love it. I love it. And we are so happy to have you. Thank you. And thank you for all that you do, Daphne.
Thank you. I'm still practicing this whole aspect of hearing my accomplishments and accepting it. So thank you. It was a humbling experience through this whole entire process of my career journey, and hearing it, it's still hard sometimes to accept. So thank you. And thank you for your time again.
No
It's a
problem.
joy to be here and to extend the work that you're doing and our joint work together in diversity, equity, inclusion, and collaborating with many who are also out there doing the same thing and creating a community and a space for us to be. And starting off with what I shared with you, I hope that extended my grace and my ability to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we appreciate you being here. I love what you also added in your bio. You said that your ultimate promotion of your life is being a mom of two thriving, kind souls. And when I think about the work that we do on a daily basis, whether it's being a DI practitioner or thinking about psychological safety or inclusion, it really starts at home. And it starts with, like you said, what I usually say is from his mouth to my heart to my hands, right? It's all
Yeah.
about thinking about our lived experience and creating purpose out of that. We'd love to hear from you in your words. How did you create, some purposeful work out of the life that you have lived and moved into this work of practicing as a diversity, equity, inclusion leader?
Yes, thank you. It truly was an eye opener for me in the D&I world when I became a mom, and the chosen path for me of being a working outside the home mom. And what does that mean for my children? Of you're negotiating your time, right? Of not being there and honing and nurturing them, where some parents and some have decided to be there for them and to show up for PTA and all of these things. I didn't do that. And so the work that I wanted to do is, what is the impact where in the current state, what can I do where when they show up into the workforce, how can they say that my mom helped change that?
Okay.
So my career has been majority really focused in marketing. It started there. I educated myself, got a double degree in communications and advertising, raised in the Bay Area, so predominantly was tech driven. But what I noticed was really around tech was driving change in any industry.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was where I was more curious about it. What does this mean in terms of serving a global economy? Because technology was transforming our ability to connect, and the shifting of time and space where time no longer mattered. As we see now, we're able to work anywhere
Mm-hmm.
and reconnect in different time zones and be able to do that. So that's how I looked at it at first. And the more I got involved in partnering with leaders in different industries, when we were talking about digital transformations, particularly in spaces like manufacturing, they were automating, excuse me. And then so I was looking at it where, well, majority of the diverse employees, that was more of a starting point for anybody who is looking for a job. And if they're automating, what are we doing to enable their skill sets so that they can still have the ability to work, right?
Yeah.
and have that level of social economic growth. So that's a space that I sort of looked into, and looking at it in terms of, I think DEI has been part of my DNA. Truly, I'm a granddaughter of a civil rights lawyer. So it was instilled upon me that, in any places that and spaces that I'm a part of, how do I draw and influence being a force for good, equity, and belonging? And I'm also a daughter of a public school teacher. So leading with curiosity and being a continuous learner has been part of my being since, I took my first breath. So I think that's been when I looked at, I don't know, it was quarter life crisis or quarter, the quarter part of my career. I looked at it and led with inquiry about, what does this look like? And in marketing, it was market segmentation. I didn't know it was part of D&I, right? But when you're looking at target segmentation and your audience, I was targeting my own people, the Latino community, the Asian community, the Black community, when I was working directly with a Global One company. And so that led me into, what does this mean for long-term impact? What does this mean for humanity? Social economic progress. Yeah.
I love how forward thinking she was, because, I don't know about you, but I just hopped into this work and I was like, something needs to be done right now. But you were thinking about automation and transformation. And I mean, it's very timely because, AI is, of course, DeAngelo does not want to talk about this, but it's definitely impacting the way that we do work and jobs and things of that nature. So thank you for saying that. But Dee, why don't you get us into this subject before we run out of time?
No, we're okay. I'm really intrigued about today's subject, because if you look at my bio line, it's really about how do we help leaders navigate this space and help them to be kind of the advocates, the cheerleaders, the instigator, and the people who are leading when it comes to diversity and equity and inclusion initiatives and organizations, right? So what we're seeing is, in recent studies, 70% of employees in the U.S. are unhappy in their jobs due to negative management, right? But what we're also seeing, all hope is not lost, that 78% business leaders are focused on improving their engagement with employees and organizations, right? So today we're really going to dig into talking about, how do we start leading with influence? We know that probably when we think about the 1900s and the early, even if we think about the 1960s, 1950s, people led with a lot of command and control. And we're understanding that that is not a way that millennials, Gen Z, and even when we're thinking about baby boomers and Gen X and all the five generations are in the workplace now, they're changing, and they need leaders who are going to inspire them, who are going to encourage them, who are going to really motivate them to do things differently. One of the things I read up on today, and so hopefully we'll go into this, right, is the 7 leadership traits that help build leaders: influence and trust, right? So influence and trust is accountability, adaptability, authenticity, communication, compassion, self-awareness, and gratitude. So talk to me, Daphne, a little bit more about the work that you've done with leaders when it comes to some of those 7 traits, or just leading with influence, and why this subject is important to you when you think about the work you've been doing in this space, in the DEIBA space.
Oh, thank you for that. I mean, truly, before, again, starting off in my career in marketing, this whole B2B, B2C, I just I couldn't wrap my head around that. I mean, I understood it from academia and all of these elements, but at the end of the day, you're connecting with a person. It's a human being there, right? So from a leadership standpoint, it really is that it's being able to, how do you make an impact of the individual, and together in the partnership that you do together alongside each other, how do you make an impact for the betterment of the project, the program, the organization and the business that you are a part of? So that's always been, I've been able to lead and speak to them in a way where information is shared where, you lead with some data to be able to really look at the situation. What is the problem that you're both trying to solve together, or all we're trying to solve together? And, what is it, what are the different tasks that you need to do? And then there's measuring it and putting in place accountability of those that have the right skills and the talents to be able to administer those tasks, and also the timing of it. So being able to really put together in place the methodology, the information, and then have a conversation of even the gaps and ask questions, even the hard ones, to be able to say, I'm asking not to be a dissenter, but have we looked at this too? Right? And that's how I've been engaging and with leaders that have made an impact in my career, to be able to be authentic, be honest, and show up where there is this macro and micro point of view in the work that you're doing together, and then coming up with some possible solutions. Yeah. So being able to share that. And again, it's also the aspect of grace, right? The individual, well, each party need to have this level of grace where that they give you the allowance to trust you, to trust you to speak, to trust you to share the information that you do have, and have them listen to you to understand, and not just to reply or to be a naysayer, but that grace extended upon one another to be able to collaborate.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know, when I think about leading with purpose, it's such an introspective thing. A lot of folks have decided to become a leader for pay, or they believe it's the next level in their career, or they have been tapped on the shoulder, typically by someone who looks like them or is related to them in some form, or relates to them in some form or fashion. But when you talk about being a servant leader and or leading with purpose, that is a deeper conversation. I just had a conversation with some folks maybe an hour or so ago, and the framework that I use is CORE. So I encourage folks to think about, you know, what are they committed to? How do they operate? How do they respond? And what is the experience that they want to leave with folks? And then from there, that's how you can start leading with purpose. That's how you identify what your purpose may be. When I think about some, you know, great Black professionals out there, I think of Dr. Kizzmekia S. Corbett, who is actually the lead scientist on the Moderna vaccine. Amanda Gorman, who's the youngest inaugural poet in U.S. history. Raphael Warnock, which DeAngelo has seen oddly for the last couple of nights in a row, it seems like, but Georgia's first Black senator. And I think about those folks. Those are some big things to take on. You know, you take a moment to say, this is something I want to do. These are people I want to care for. But if you're a manager and you are a leader, how would you encourage these folks to start seeking their own purpose? How do they identify what their purpose is to determine how to lead with purpose?
Yeah. As a starting point for anybody that really is in the workplace, there is this, we're working to make a livelihood for ourselves, right? That's the start. And, you know, maybe that's a starting point of a basis of relationship building. And in doing so, learning to get to know one another, what excites them, what's their interests, what drives them. It's asking for their why, and learning people's why is key. And key to just building that relationship, and then also looking for avenues to genuinely partner with them, and being able to really start there, starting, you know, brick by brick, what can we do, and be able to come up with reasonable solutions to be able to say, I'm interested in learning about that project, about that program, building my skill sets, whatnot. And you can see who is for you and who is with you, because you not only get a seat at the table, but also they're unmuting you and allowing you to speak and share your knowledge directly, not hand them a script of the knowledge that you know, but for you to be able to say, okay, I'm going to give the seat and also the airtime to share, to be able for you to show up in your readiness, in your ability. And so that's the space. But I think the starting point really is knowing somebody's why, knowing your why, and then extending it in terms of you understand that the other person also has their own why, and how can you work together in doing so.
Yeah, thank you.
Um, so many questions, but I'm going to stick to some more questions beyond the list because I love this understanding your why. I think that's so important when you think about your own individual journey.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so when we think about leaders who are leading with influence and allyship, right? How does that show up when you're leading with influence and you're leading with purpose? What does allyship look like? What are the things that you're doing as a leader who is being an advocate, ally of your employee, and also influencing others to join that journey with you?
What I've appreciated with great leaders who are true allies is extending their vulnerability of not knowing and the willingness to say, I don't know, but I'd like to learn.
Okay.
And it starts there. And again, going back to the whole relationship building and trust, it's that when one is able to extend this grace of even showing up in fear, because oftentimes many, as we see now, is they're leading with fear, but they're being aggressive in other ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you can say, I'm extending empathy, understand that this is a problem. I don't know how to fix it because I'm not familiar and I'd like to know, extending that grace of vulnerability and instead of entitlement, to be able to say, I want to stand in this space of good, in this space to serve, but I don't know yet enough of the information to be able to use my own skills, my own ability, to be able to use my influence, to be in the right side of good. So, so that's that piece where I think being able to be vulnerable is important. And I appreciate leaders who are able to unmask.
I can respect.
Unmask. Yeah.
Truly. Well, so we talked about, leading with purpose and how to do that and what that looks like in allyship as well. So when for our audience out there, when they're listening to you, what would you recommend that they take into their next meeting?
I believe, first and foremost, being able to understand the business landscape and DEI, the opportunity for you to influence and diversity, equity, and inclusion is understanding what is the corporate strategy, what is the current business landscape, and what are the diversity gaps, right? And understanding also it's who can you partner with in different levels, in different organizations, to truly be impactful in the way in which you will influence and lead DEI. But understanding, what I had mentioned earlier, it's knowing your own sense of self, the core piece.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be well watered before you can extend yourself out, because oftentimes it ends up projecting some of the issues out, right? And or not able to show grace and mercy because there is this sense of having to fix the problem that is triggering this, that is deregulating you, to be able to regulate yourself. So being able to have that own sense of self. So understanding the landscape and your own skill sets and ability, and looking at, if I don't have the right skill sets, who could I partner with that are really strong in that, and have the strength and the courage to be able to say, I'm not good at that, therefore I will partner with somebody, not tear them down because they're good at something, but partner with them to be able to say, you're so awesome at what you do, together we can be great, right? And yeah, so
well said. Thank you, Daphne.
yeah, well, I can't believe 30 minutes went by so fast.
It definitely did. But we love to keep it lighthearted towards the end. We've had opportunities to glean some insights from you, but we also like to learn a little bit more about you, if that's okay. We have a couple rapid fire questions. Is that okay?
Go for it.
Okay.
Go for it.
These are easy ones. Just some really quick ones. Texting or talking?
Ooh, texting, but I have a 3-text rule. So if we're going back and forth 3 times, we're gonna have a phone call.
Oh, like good for you. I'll just make the paragraphs longer. Okay, good. What's yours?
Okay, if you had a theme song, what would it be?
Ooh, this girl is on fire.
Ready for it.
We knew that. Okay. So, okay, I'm only choosing these, just so y'all know, I'm only choosing these because these are 2 of my favorite holidays besides my birthday. Thanksgiving or Christmas with your family? Or do you celebrate either?
I celebrate both.
Okay.
I think raised in spiritual faith, Thanksgiving was a big deal because leading with gratitude and thankfulness. And Christmas, of course, but it became more of a secondary only because it's been commercialized.
See, I like the Thanksgiving food. One year I asked DeAngelo and some friends to cook me Thanksgiving food for my birthday. So I was like, oh, best of both holidays, because, forget the real holiday itself. But okay, cute. Well, thank you so much for providing us with a little fun knowledge about yourself as well, and all of these gems about leading with purpose from your perspective. We truly appreciate it, Daphne. I'm going to pass it to you, Dee, to let us know what shout out we have for today.
Today, I want to shout out one of my favorite leaders who's always led with influence. He is a culture and engagement leader at Humana. His name is Corey Blakey. If he's watching, he's such an influential leader and just an amazing person. If you ever sit down and talk with Corey, you're going to get something out of that short or long conversation to have with him. So shout out to people doing it good. And also a little shout out to tomorrow's guest. Our tomorrow's guest will be Jane Fried, who's going to be talking about belonging 101. So please make sure you tune in. And Blair, you're going to tell us about when they can tune in, of course.
Absolutely. Every single weekday, 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you join us for your daily dose of D&B with D&B. Oh, with D&B. Thank you again for your time. We appreciate you all and for your energy. We hope you have a great week. Talk to you soon. Bye now. Thank you, Daphne.
Thank you.